What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? I got something special for you guys today. I gotta talk about, what's that? Game of Thrones? Yeah, that little indie show that came out not too long ago that pissed a lot of people off. But you know what? I figured out that I can't really do this alone, so I got some friends along for the ride. So let's get through this intro and get to it. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I told y'all I have something special. I got two cameras, so I'm going to look at both of them. Woohoo! This is my first time doing this. But, guys, welcome to the CEO treatment, the group CEO treatment of Game of Thrones Season 8. I got two of my road dogs here for the ride. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, tell y'all who they is, and what they do. Phil, go ahead, drop them with a little knowledge.
All right, guys. Long-time listener, first time guest. Very happy to be here. I am one of the hosts of the Sports Landing podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Cover all sports and all those things, but even though it's just about sports, I like talking about pop culture, movies, all that fun stuff. So Darren was kind enough to bring me in today, and we got our other friend here who's typing on his iPad still, but he's about to introduce himself too.
And real quick, I just want to say shout out to the man that's about to introduce himself because as y'all can see, this is not my normal setup. I normally have my crooked posters in the background. We have hijacked Ralph's house. So, Ralph, go ahead, drop some knowledge. Let him know who you is.
Yeah, guys. So, what up, guys? I am Rafi Red. I do have a channel. What I do basically is just sneaker reviews. I do tech reviews and also do travel videos. So, check me out, Rafi Red _ on Instagram or just Rafi Red at YouTube. So one of those two places you can find me. I also use Twitter, but not that much. So if you're into that stuff, follow me.
True. Twitter, shout out, because I normally don't use Twitter that often.
Instagram.
Yes, I literally just go in there, see whatever trending topics. If it's not on the trending topic, it is not important in the world. So I've learned that. So let's get back to the topic at hand. We are here to talk about Season 8, the controversial Season 8 of Game of Thrones. So, my channel, we're going to do what is called a CEO treatment, Creative Entertaining's opinions of Game of Thrones Season 8. So what does that include for people that normally don't follow my channel or if watching on one of theirs? So CEO treatment is essentially where I say what it's about. We all agree on what it's about, and then we get into our likes. And to try to keep time short, because it's normally just myself doing this, we're going to stick to 3 major likes that we liked about Game of Thrones. Regardless if we hated the entire thing, we got to find at least 3 likes that we liked about it. And then we'll talk about 3 dislikes that we didn't like about it. So regardless if we loved it, what are 3 things that they could have did better? And then we'll do an overall. And I got my scores, but we'll talk about the scores a little bit later. So let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. So what is Season 8 Game of Thrones about? After somewhat 7 masterful, kind of good, maybe good seasons with some awesome, impeccable storytelling, we make it to the very controversial Season 8 of Game of Thrones. So we're here to give the likes and dislikes of those. So I'm going to pass the mic to my man, Phil, and let him know what's good. Yo, guys, what's good with Season 8?
Really, Game of Thrones was on track to be one of the best overall television shows ever. And kind of leading into Season 8 is when they began to stumble a little bit, especially on the writing side of it. But as far as what I liked, the cinematography was great. Episodes 3 and 5 were both directed by who is known as the Battle Guy. He did Battle of the Bastards and then Battle of Winterfell. He did one of the other battles throughout the season. But the cinematography that was in the Battle of Winterfell, everyone had to check the brightness settings on their TV because everyone thought it just went dark. But at the end of the day, one of his favorite shots from that season finale or series finale was Dany with the dragon right behind her, really showing that she had become the dragon at that point and really completed that arc. But throughout it, it just let it be like it's not even a TV show. There were mini movies, 6 of them that we got for these 6 weeks. And, regardless of how the writing went or how the story came, it was just great overall.
Facts. Yeah, I love, and you actually echoed one of mine, so I guess I'll go. So these are some of my likes that I liked about Season 8. The scenery and the cinematography was impeccable. Like, it was unmatched. There's not too many, shows. There's a few movies, or actually a lot of movies, something like Lord of the Rings or whatnot, but there's very few shows that have done if any shows have done what Game of Thrones have done, especially in these last 6 episodes. They were beautiful to watch. To someone that doesn't watch Game of Thrones, if you would show them just one scene with one dragon, they literally would think it's from like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or something. So it's quite impeccable what this show has done from just a visual standpoint. So that is unmatched in almost any show out there. Something else I really liked about this season was the character interactions. I thought those were spot on, especially for the first 2 episodes. Episode 2 is actually my favorite because I just enjoyed the dialogue. I enjoyed it when they were around the fireplace. I still want to know what Podrick did a few seasons back. I think we will never figure that out. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Brienne of Tarth being knighted by Jaime. That was probably, if not my favorite scene throughout this entire 6 episodes. That's something that I really, really enjoyed. Something else is also, I didn't mention this before, but we're talking spoilers. So if you're already here and you're already pissed off about what you're hearing, well, it's spoilers. You should have read the comment and should have read the description below. You'd be all right. So something else I liked was actually the last episode was Ghost and Jon being reunited. Yes. Because there was a lot of uproar about those two not really having a proper send-off, if you will. So that's something that I really enjoyed. But overall, out of everything that I liked, that's pretty much it. I am sorry, but I'm not sorry at all. So yes, pass it over to the man, Ralph. Ralph, let me know what you let them liked. Let me know what you liked them liked. You know what I'm saying. Just do what you do.
Think of Darren, yeah. Definitely this show, as you mentioned, Phil, could have been one of the best shows like literally ever. You know, there's been many shows. One of my other shows was Spartacus. I don't know if you guys seen Spartacus. That was also
one
great.
episode.
Yeah.
And a half, so 1.5.
And then Lost, we can say that Lost was also a great show, I guess. But, you know, it didn't really end it the way it was supposed to. But
Breaking Bad.
I haven't seen that show, so I probably had to go back.
All right, we're going to stop this right now. My man has not seen Breaking Bad. Are you serious?
I have not, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know.
He's joking, right?
Yeah.
He's joking?
The next video is going to be a CEO treatment of Breaking Bad all at once.
No, it's going to be an entire
Yeah.
CEO treatment of why the hell you haven't watched it in the first place. Dang, bro. Continue, though. Continue.
All right, but as far as like this last season, one of the 3 things that I can say that I like the most, it was when Arya just did what she said what she was gonna do back when she was like in those like practicing to be like the no face.
Yeah.
You know, I think she said what's west of Westeros? Nothing. They don't know yet. So kind of like exploring and finding out what's out there. It's something that I enjoy, like exploring things and doing things that I've never really done before. That was kind of like a good send-off for that character. The other thing that I enjoyed, that I think I didn't enjoy that much, but Tyrion. I guess Tyrion is so smart. He battled without even fighting through the whole seasons. You know, he was like almost, what was it, twice, where he was like sentenced to death and things like that, and he still got out of it. You know, at the end of the day, he still like was like the hand of the king again. You know, and he could drink the wine and have all those girls and whatever that he always wanted to have all the time. So he's a smart dude. You know, he actually ended up kind of winning everything if you think about it. And then the other one that I like, even though it's sad, Theon. You know, what happened with Theon right there at the very end when they told him, like, hey, don't worry, you're Stark. You know, it doesn't matter if you're from another house or whatever. You were raised here, you play with us, you know, you kind of like grow up with us and everything. So, Bran giving that, like, you're a good man, giving that last handoff, I was like, what the hell is this guy's going to do? I think he was going to start running again like he did when he jumped off on the on the boat with Yara. But no, he actually, like, went, you know, straight on to the Night King. And I was like, and then the way he died, I mean, we knew that he was going to die. But
yeah,
like,
he tried.
He tried. You know, but that was like a super move that he did over there. But the way he went out, it was honorable. You know, after everything he did, that was not horrible at all. So those 3 things pretty much things that I enjoyed the most. Because we can say the battles, you know, the Battle of the Bastards, all the battles of Winterfell, they're amazing. The one was it Hawthorne or where the Whitelings were at. that they invaded that whole town. All the walkers, the walkers, the white walkers.
Hard home.
Hard home.
Hard home.
You know, those fights were amazing. But like three things to like stand out for me, it was those three. Definitely those three for the whole show, or that season for that matter.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of that. And by the way, Hard Home is still like my favorite episode, point blank period. Not only my favorite episode, but that's still my favorite moment.
Because I guess that's the time that we learned that they can be killed with the Valyrian steel. You know, we didn't thought that could be killed. So that was like, oh wow.
And then also resurrected with the whites. And the Night King did the whole the Undertaker arm raise.
And I think the best thing about that scene was there was no music. Like, he literally just raised his hands like the Undertaker in the corner, like he's about to get in the ring, and just watched everyone he just slaughtered become a part of his army. Yeah, I can't wait to get into my dislikes, because that's one thing I want to talk about. So switching over, now we're going to get into some of our dislikes. I think it's cool to see that like a lot of our likes were, you know, somewhat the same as far as from a story standpoint, between like the cinematography, certain pivotal points that kind of played into it from prior seasons to make certain moments more memorable. It's like you watch something and you're just like, oh snap, yeah, I remember this from season 4. I'm glad that it came to fruition, or we finally got to see this come to pass in season 8. But now it's time to flip over to the other side. So we're going to talk about what we didn't like. So as we're trying to do dislikes, we had a malfunction because a certain someone's not ready. Oh, I'm sorry, Ralph.
I gotta get my thoughts right, you know.
Oh, you were still typing your notes, Ralph. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Sure. I'm so sorry. So we're gonna pass the mic to Phil because Ralph wasn't ready. So Phil.
Wasn't ready.
Yeah, you tried that. You really did. You just did. Yep. And that's gonna stay on there. That's gonna make the internet. That's literally gonna make the internet, Ralph. I want you to remember that. So we're gonna pass it to Phil. Phil, what didn't you like about this season, besides everything?
So yeah, first off, I'd say, you know, Rafi, you're qualified now to be a writer on Game of Thrones.
Oh,
it's just going.
With the Phil, with the jokes.
It ties in perfectly because that has been my biggest gripe about season 8 of Game of Thrones. I'm someone that read the books. I had watched the show live since about like season 3.
Really?
And so I've been in it for a while. I wasn't a part of the binge, that final race at the end. And everything that had led up to it, if you look at like the scores overall, all the seasons were rated very highly up until this season.
True.
And they had 6 episodes in which they reverse engineered the entire thing. They knew where they needed to get to, and they kind of had those paths go way too quickly. And even with the time jumps in the series finale, where, you know, Tyrion showed up and then Jon was in a prison, and they were just like, all right, well, this is what happened. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you know. There's just a lot of holes that happen in time, and, you know, I agree with the thing with Dany becoming, you know, as so much as we can say, the Mad Queen, and it was getting to that point, but it got there really fast to where a switch got flipped, because 2 episodes before that she was talking about the last war, and then in the final speech she's like, no, there's plenty more wars to fight, gotta kill everybody. And, you know, it got rid of Mercy, and it really showed how far she sank into how crazy she had gotten. And that pacing was terrible. And then the minor stuff where she was given that speech and there's a bunch of Dothraki again. They just somehow got resurrected after the Battle of Winterfell. And
too many.
It went from snowing to, oh yeah, it's like, you know, San Diego weather again. So like winter came and was gone within like 7 hours. So, you know, not too bad. But outside of that, you know, it was a good season, but like definitely does not hold up to any of the other ones. And I just wish they would have had a little bit more time to flesh it out a little bit more.
Yo, that was my man Phil. I agree 100% that Ralph is a horrible writer. 1,000%. But yeah, I have a lot of dislikes that like I got to go through, but I'm saving mine for last because, you know, we might be here for the next 37 minutes if I go next. So Ralph, let them know, what didn't you like about this season?
Oh man, what didn't like? I just want to say and start with Bran. Like at the very end, Bran out of nowhere just says like, why do you think I came all the way over here for? I'm like, dude, this whole time you've been denying the throne just like Jon, and now you're saying like, oh, I'm here for that, you know? And then the way he started smiling from that point on, it was like, yeah, I'm happy. You were like, you've been mad. You have your freaking mouth closed the whole entire time. They didn't say a word. I live in the past. That's the only thing he says. And it's like, and now you on the throne? It's like, really? And then Sansa goes over and tells like, hey, I'm sorry about you, brother, but I want to be an independent kingdom. I'm like, what the F? It's like, I was like, come on. I was actually jumping on my chair when I was watching it. I was like, come on. That's the one thing that I hated the most. The second thing that I hated the most is Grey Worm. When he had that look on Jon, when he was on the boat and they were about to sail to Nas, I think it was the island, and Jon encircled him, like, and he used to have like that, like, desire and for justice. It's like, dude, caught it already. Like, your queen is dead. You're bye-bye. You're free. She even gave you the freedom before she was dead. It's like, it's not like, oh, she didn't give me the freedom. No, you got the freedom before she was dead. So why are you still mad about it? I hated that part. And I think the last part that I hated the most was, do we really need to find out Jon was a Targaryen?
Thank you. So, drop it in the comments right now. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
To find
Drop it
out?
in the comments. Why do we need to know he was a Targaryen? Why did they build so much hype for him being a Targaryen?
Right?
I'm so sorry for hijacking your moment right now, Ralph. But someone explain that to me. Why is this mic on? Why was Jon a Targaryen? No.
No.
I'm gonna allow him to finish first, and then I might allow Phil to have a post-credit scene of him explaining it. But right now, I'm gonna be in my rant. So thank you. Continue.
So they did a whole council. It was Tyrion. They got end of yours. It was Tyrion and all of the other like houses. I don't know what the freak, and not one said anything. Not one. Bran was there to confirm it. Sam Martelli, even though he was not there, he was able also to confirm it. And he didn't say, he went to like jail, for that time period that Jon went to jail. I'm like, come on. Like, what the F? That was a big what the F moment for me. So those are definitely the three things I did not like at all for this season 8. There was other things here in other season, but then this one, 3 things. That was tough. Because when we find out that he's actually a Targaryen, we were like, whoa, what the hell? What is Dany going to do? What is he going to do? What are the Stark sisters going to do? Everybody. And then it's just like, just put it under the rug. We don't care about that. Oh, that was so 2000 and whatever, 18, so what the F. So there you go.
I agree with 97.24% of that. Like, it was so much in this season that was just like poorly executed. And that's one of my dislikes. And now we're getting into my dislikes it's just lazy writing, but the execution. Like, I'm not mad where the show ended. I'm not even with Bran being on the throne, because believe it or not, like, after, sleeping on this for like, what now, 2, 3, 4 days, Bran is the ultimate hustler. Bran has said nothing. Like, Littlefinger was more upfront about his lying, his deception, and all this great stuff. But Bran has just been waiting in the corner, waiting in the cut, just for his turn. Has he lied to people? We don't know, because he knows everything. So we don't know if he told them a lie. Maybe it was like Doctor Strange, where he had to tell them something or not tell them something, because if he did, these events wouldn't happen. So I would give him that microscopic amount of credit. And the only issue I have is with the writing is the fact that they didn't put them in positions to succeed. Like where Jon left off, we had so many questions like, yo, is he on the Night's Watch? Why is the Night Watch still a thing? Did he go he's with the wildlings? Like, what really happened there? And yes, like, I do agree, that's a gap with the Unsullied. Like, yeah, we made this pact for Jon to go to prison or jail for life.
That's no
Next
prison.
thing and then they leave, and then it's like, well, does he really have to go to the jail or prison? Exactly. So that's like that all goes under lazy writing for me. This is kind of a side to that, but character development and character conclusions, like 1000%. Jaime Lannister is my favorite character past like season 2, season 3, when he loses his hand, and then when he loses the hand, he literally finds like who he is and who he wants to become, and why he killed the Mad. He gave the story why he killed the Mad King. I'm just like, Jaime, I'm for you, except the thing with your sister. But besides that, I'm totally for you, Jaime. And like, season 3 through 7, like you see this story arc with Jamie, and the one moment that like where my heart stopped was the one where they just came from, I believe, either the Tyrells or the Golden Company, and then Khaleesi meets them halfway. She comes with the dragons. That's the first time that Dany and Jamie were on screen at the same time. And that moment was big for me. I'm like, oh, Jamie's going to try to go for it all. He's going to try to do it. And then he got saved, all that great stuff. But those moments for Jamie, moments like that, like live with me forever. The moment where he told the story about the Mad King, the moment where he tried to kill Dany, the moment where he tries to tell Cersei that, look, we need to fight for the living. Like, those are the moments that I built Jamie Lannister on. And then season 8 happens.
And you like the way he died?
Spoiler. But before we get into that, I just want to say the one thing that bothers me the most about Jamie Lannister is right after he sleeps with the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, or 6.5. How many? Six kingdoms? Well, then it was 7. Whatever. Technically, whatever. See, he read the book, so I'm not talking to him. But the thing that bothers me the most is in that moment where Brienne is crying and he's just like, stay Jamie, please, please, please. Jamie's like, this is who I am. Like, I am this person. It was like, I can't not be with her. I have to go be with her. I'm just like, yo, bruh. I feel you, but like season 3 through 7 meant absolutely nothing. We're just going to erase all of that character development, and you're going to go back and die under some rocks. That's where we're at. But whatever. That's one of the major character development issues for me was Jamie Lannister's character. I actually didn't like Tyrion either. Tyrion was such a hustler. He was so wise. He knew how to stay alive. He wasn't in the Game of Thrones, but he always stayed by the throne. Like, regardless who it was, he found a way to survive. Through everything, that's
why I like him.
Yeah, but through Dany, through his dad, through his family, the Starks, whatever. He found a way to survive, and he was always, to me, the smartest person in the room. And then season 8 happened, and what happened to all that wisdom? I really felt like every decision he made was wrong. Every single decision, everything that he did was wrong, which completely goes against his character development. Like, he knew not only what was best for him, but what was best for people. And I can see you just looking at me because you read the book, so I don't want to talk about it. He's just looking at me like, oh, man, you don't understand this. You don't understand this. Shut up, Phil. This is my moment. I got the mic. I got the mic. I got the mic. I got the mic. The mic's in my hand. So that's another thing that truly, truly bothered me is the fact that a lot of characters in this season just go against who they were for the last, like, 5 or 6 seasons. Even Varys. Like, Varys was right. Varys never really showed his hand. He had those conversations with Littlefinger. He had the conversations with Tyrion. And then Varys saved his life, and Tyrion still ratted him out. There's no honor, apparently, in the 6.59 kingdoms. So, there's no honor. So, in this season, even Varys, like, just shows his hand to everybody. And people start understanding who he is. And I really didn't like that. So when I say character development and character conclusions, there's so many other things. And Jon, one more, and I'm done. Jon went against the grain almost the entire run of Game of Thrones with the Wildlings, with the Night's Watch. He died for the Wildlings. He did all of these things to go against it because he wanted to do what was better for him and the better man, his family, whatever may have you. Nah, my man this season, she's my queen. Yo, she burned some kids. She's my queen. Yo, killed a bunch of innocent people. My queen.
He still have Nurse stuck on him. That's why.
But my queen. Like, yo, bro, like, there was some people in welfare in the FEMA line just trying to get money and food stamps.
My queen.
And she burned, but that's my queen. I was like, that reminded me of, you would know this, T.O., when he was like, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. That's how I felt with Jon. Yeah, that Jon, oh my Lord. So yes, character development and character conclusions. I just truly believe we deserve more. But the number one thing for me that truly took this show away from me is how they ended the Night King. That I will not be able to sleep for a long time because that bothered me. Not because Arya got her shine. It's not that. Arya deserved that moment. Cool, have it. The only thing I wanted was the Night King to throw a punch. I wanted the Night King to tie a shoelace. I wanted the Night King to put a Yu-Gi-Oh card in attack mode. I wanted him to do something. And literally, he raised the dead. That's cool and all. His generals were throwing hands with Jon. All that's gravy. And one of his generals got into it with Sam. Sam became the first person to kill a White Walker. All that great stuff. The dragon glass, all that. We got all of that. But the one thing that I wanted was a Night King to throw hands. I'm gonna let y'all know, if that type of story would have happened in anime, it wouldn't have been allowed. It would not have been allowed. You don't build that type of monumental story of winter is coming. Like 3/4 of the show is predicated on 3 words: that winter is coming. And yet, winter came for 2 seconds. It literally came like a storm in Orlando, Florida, where it literally happens for like 32 minutes and then it just goes away. It's like, man, yo, that was a hurricane for 32 minutes. Yeah, that's what just happened in this show. It literally came for the longest battle of whatever. And we was like, this is it. This is the moment. This is it where, oh man, he's either going to touch Bran or Bran's end up going to be Arya, or no, you know what? Maybe Jon's going to come out and maybe Jon really did slay the dragon. And they say, you know, they're going to throw hands in the middle. And what happens? He dies. He dies. She stabbed him in the one spot that nobody could get for 7 seasons. No one can even get to him. The man's been on a cliff or hidden behind 20 billion of his own army. But yes, Arya got it. And I'm not mad. Once again, Arya got that shot. Arya stepped up to the free throw line when pressure was on the line the most, and she knocked it down. But the only thing that got me is, before that moment happened, I wanted to see the Night King do anything. And from now until the end of probably my life, or at least until some prequel comes that better explains what happens, we'll probably never get to see that. But I realize I'm talking too long and I'm just going to stop. But yes, those are the things that I did not like. No, Phil, you can't talk. Shut up. Moving on.
Yo, 2 points I want to make really quick. And they're not even bad. Like, a lot of what you said, it really ties to other culture and pop culture that we've seen. If you think about Star Wars, right? Remember how Snoke in this last trilogy got all the build, and then he just died.
Yep.
Right? And I'd say it even speaks more to Game of Thrones being Game of Thrones. Ned Stark, first season, spoiler alert, gets worked up the whole way, and he dies. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so much like that to just, like, go against the grain of, like, what we expect. And the funny thing about the that last scene with Jon and Dany, he's like, you burned them all. You burned the children. Dany basically became Anakin Skywalker. Killed the younglings. Just didn't care. No regard for human life. But at the end of the day, yeah, that you wish you had more of it. And it really ultimately always is going to come back to the pacing of it. And if you had 2 more episodes even, like, they would have been able to flesh it out a little bit more and maybe be able to develop those characters. And it's something like all of us would have liked to see. And unfortunately, all we're going to have left now is maybe 2 books if they ever get written, or not. But then you can't compare that to the show because it's 2 different forms, 2 different mediums. And it's going to be really, really hard to see that translate in people that are like diehard book readers, diehard show watchers. Like, I watched the show before I ever read a book, so I almost always will go with the show. And then since this season started, I've been going back in that other direction because there's so much more detail there, and you get a lot more understanding behind it that you just can't put on the screen, and that they didn't have the time to do.
Nah, yeah, I agree. And like, yeah, you read the book, so you're all like high and mighty over there with your book reading.
I'm not trying to be, man.
Kids, read more. Don't just do like.
Tyrion said the best thing to keep his mind sharp is a book, and he stopped reading after season 5.
You sure it wasn't wine and a
also
girl's mouth around?
Too.
Okay.
Well, guess what? After season 5, all of that stopped. And that's when that trend started to go. Because even in season 7, we saw those decisions where he was putting his family before anybody else, even though he didn't want to act, and he wanted to kill Cersei. So, as a great another HBO will say, time is a flat circle.
and I agree with a lot of that you said. So I'm kind of off my hype train now.
Overall, I'm satisfied with it. When you look at the overall history of television and how these shows have ended, more often than not, they do crash and burn. They can't live up to the hype machine. It's the same thing that happens why most sequels for movies aren't successful. There's maybe only 3 sequels in the history of cinema that actually mean something. Sure. So for Game of Thrones to at least get to a C+ for season 8, in my opinion, I'm okay with it. We got 2 really good battles out of it. We got okay character development. We got half the ends tied up. And at the end of it, they're going to have a whole prequel series, and we're going to have books to supplement whatever was there. It's still not going to be the same. They're completely different mediums. But at the end of the day, it was good. I'm fine with it. I don't hate it. I'm not going to petition the writers to say, hey, I know you spent hundreds of hours and millions of dollars.
I signed it.
But let's put it back. Okay. But that's how I feel about it. I know you for sure do not feel the same way. I'm pretty sure Rafi's about in the same camp, maybe for different reasons. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like I'm gonna watch the whole season, the whole series again. Like it's gonna happen. I'm gonna reread the books. It's something that's always gonna be a part of my life, and I'm not just gonna let one season ruin that for me. Because there were 7 before this that were above a 9.0 rating on IMDb. Like you can't let that go like besides itself.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. I am definitely satisfied as far as the whole show. The last episode, no, not satisfied. I kind of one of the ratings that. What do you mention? What are the ratings when you're not really satisfied?
Oh, we're not.
I want my time
But
back.
in between those two is disappointed.
Oh, disappointed.
Yes.
Okay, so the last 2 episodes, I'm disappointed. The last 2 episodes, but as far as the whole show, I definitely it's not gift from the gods, no way, but it's definitely satisfied, I guess, because there's so much to look back. There's so much history, so much stuff that had happened that there were times you were like, wow, like so hype and you enjoy this and you were like, yeah, man, can't wait for next Sunday. I can't wait for, and things like that. But there were times where like, really? That was it? Like, really? What the F? WTF? So definitely I am satisfied for the whole show, but disappointed for the last 2 episodes of this. I know Darren has different opinions on this.
I surely do.
So we're going to call to you.
Man, you two are satisfied. You two make me sick. You really do. For me, yes, Game of Thrones as a whole, masterful show. One of the best, not only of our generation, but like all time. Storytelling, cinematography, scenery, just character developments, the time period, the fantasy fiction of it. The one thing that I really love about Game of Thrones is it brings a much needed awareness to fantasy fiction. For people that can't watch Lord of the Rings, people that couldn't watch Harry Potter, people that can't even watch like one episode of Vikings.
I don't know if anyone wants to watch that though.
Yeah, you're right. I was just trying to draw
pretty good.
context. Shut up. So I think Game of Thrones brings a much needed awareness to fantasy fiction. And who knows what that big major fantasy fiction show will be, if we'll ever have anything like this again. But season 8. I would say my score is I am very disappointed. Because for me, let's look at something like Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame, the first hour and a half, no spoilers if you haven't seen it. No, I don't understand why you haven't, but whatever. First hour and a half was mostly dialogue. It was a lot of dialogue and just like character conclusions and resolutions. And I loved it. And then they gave you the perfect blend of just tears down your eyes action that perfectly gave weight to everything that they've done for the first 21, 22 films. Prior to that, Game of Thrones didn't do that. Even though I know it's different between movie and TV shows, Game of Thrones didn't do that. Game of Thrones didn't add enough weight, enough resolutions, and enough conclusions to justify the almost masterful 7 seasons we got beforehand. The writing was too lazy. I will always choose character development over action any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And Game of Thrones dropped the ball major. Not as bad as per se like Dexter or Lost or the last few minutes of Sopranos. But I do say, we'll save that conversation for another day, that this 100% left me disappointed because a show of this magnitude, I expected so much more, and I didn't get that, and I'm still sad, and they should have never had Jamie fighting Euron, man. That was so stupid. But yes, I'm very disappointed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. That was the CEO treatment, the group CEO treatment of the season 8 of Game of Thrones. I still don't agree with half of the stuff that these guys said. Whatever. And put that down. But yes, so I'm gonna allow these guys to go ahead and give their outros. Tell us a little bit more about yourself real quick, but tell us where they can find you.
Yeah. Again, I'm one of the few hosts of the Sports Landing podcast. We're on iTunes podcast app and Spotify. You can check us out on Instagram at Sports Landing, just like how it sounds, and also on Twitter the same way. We try and post weekly for podcasts. We cover pretty much all sporting stuff. But yeah, check us out. You know where we are. You know where we're at.
Word. Shout out to my man Phil, a.k.a. Mr. I Read the Books. And next, the host, Mr. Home Court Advantage here, because this is his setup, Mr. Ralph. Yeah, bro, we want to thank you, man, for allowing us to come over, but tell him one more time. Tell him who you is.
Definitely. So I'm Rafi Red. You can find me on YouTube right there like that. RAFFIRED. So it's two F and I. And also on Instagram, Rafi Red underscore. You gotta put the underscore. So basically, what I do is a lot of tech videos, reviews, unboxing. I also do sneaker reviews and also travel videos. So I'll do travel a lot of places and then kind of show you around what to do and what not to do. Tips and tricks, So follow me if you like that stuff. Follow me, and then we'll see you on the internet.
Word, true. Yeah, follow him because I don't travel, so I just live vicariously through his life. He's got like a lot of like posters. I literally looked at one. I was like, "Oh man, that's gorgeous. Where'd you buy it?" It's like I didn't buy it. I took the photo myself. So I love these two channels. So regardless where you are in pop culture or where you are in traveling, you got a pretty good vast variety here between us. And who am I, just for those that may be watching on his channel or maybe hearing this in the podcast? You never know. I am once again movie_CEO, where CEO stands for Creative Entertaining Opinions, where we look for the good, the bad, the better, the worst in all movies and TV shows. We're going to be expanding a lot and doing more things like this where we get different people to tell their perspectives on different things in pop culture. I loved what we did today, man, and I want to thank you guys for just coming on this stupid, silly, incredible journey with me where we talked about the very controversial season 8 of Game of Thrones. But if you guys got something, as always, drop a comment below. You got an idea, let us know. We look forward to doing more of these in the future. Peace out.